Welcome to Soundings. This is a montage which will illustrate some of the ways in which digital audio recordings can be used to enhance the learning process. Of course, audio recordings are not something which are new to education at all. Here we actually have an example from the 1930s of a 78 record, which is a Morse code practice record. And that was 13 words per minute. However, we'll go on and look at some examples which are a bit more recent. Collecting audio recordings nowadays can be very easy. A lot of the devices that we carry around with us will do it for us. For example, many mobile phones have an audio recording facility within them. Personal digital assistants do. A lot of the MP3 players that we carry around for our own music actually also have a recording facility. And with a very low cost microphone, we can record sound directly into a laptop or a PC. For our first example of the use of sound recordings in learning, we're going to go to Pauline from Gloucestershire, who's going to tell us about her use in a language class.
I'm Pauline Thomas and I work for Adult Education in Gloucestershire, teaching English to people whose first language isn't English. The focus is on improving communication skills and the 4 skills: reading, writing, speaking and listening. I've recently been working with a group of older learners and in one session they talked about their previous preparations for their religious festival, including a major shopping expedition. I recorded the conversation. All learners made an input. All were able to communicate, but there was almost no use of past tense, or it was totally wrong. I didn't make any comment on the recording at the time, but the next session focused on forming and using past tenses. Returning to the recording, I played it back to the learners, again with no comment and no instructions. The learners immediately engaged, listening for mistakes and trying to correct. No hint of peer criticism or competitiveness. Everyone was in it together. It was highly motivating and enjoyable, and a couple of learners went on to voluntarily make a re-recording of their bits. These were learners in their 70s and I'd had real reservations about using technology with them. But I think what I take from this is, if you go in with a positive attitude, expecting to enjoy it yourself, expecting it to be non-threatening, and expecting your learners to enjoy it, they most certainly will. I consent to all or parts of this recording being used by NIAS as part of the CamelNet workshop series and on other training and dissemination activities.
Well, thanks to Pauline for that. Now we're going to hear about another example of the use of sound recordings with learners, but this time it's coming from Terry Lone. Terry's going to tell us how he's actually made recordings with learners online using Skype and using some software called Pamela to record the conversations, of course, with the learner's approval.
One of the most powerful ways in which you can provide evidence of learning is by listening to the learner reflecting on what they have learned. In vocational courses, such as NVQs, this can take the form of what is called a professional discussion. And in non-accredited courses, listening to the learner's own voice can be a good way of implementing the RAPA requirements. In other words, it can be a means of recognizing and recording learners' progress and achievement. You can easily make digital recordings of learners, and you don't even need to be in the same place as the learner to do so. We have had great success using Skype for NVQ professional discussions. The assessor uses Skype to call the candidate, who can be sitting at a computer with a headset, or can be using a regular phone, and the assessor then uses software called Pamela to record the Skype conversation. And we have found that learners usually find this both a convenient and a relaxed way of providing recorded spoken evidence.
And now we're going to hear from Angel, who, as a learner, has been involved in producing her own podcasts as part of the BBC Learner Lounge project.
Okay, my name is Angel, and I'm an adult learner in Birkbeck College, and I was involved with the Learners Lounge project to make audio output for the BBC London website, and making a programme and hearing my voice was almost a life-changing experience. It gave me my voice to be heard by other people.
So far we've heard how sound recordings can be used to gather information from students about their progress in a course and indeed their reflection on how it's going. Now let's hear how sound recordings can be used to deliver part of the course content.
I'm Penny Root, and I'm BBC London's Communities Editor. My job involves making sure that London's communities are represented well on our television, radio and online output, but I'm also responsible for a certain amount of outreach work. When it comes to audio and learning, I think there's a wonderful marriage there to be made. Partly it's because audio is so portable. You can access learning by listening to it in so many different ways, whether it be the radio, through your computer, through an MP3 player or an iPod, or even on your mobile phone. How many other media can you carry around with you and be learning all the time like that? My top tip then is to think of audio not like a book where you have to sit down and actually leaf through it and read it. Think of it as something that you can take anywhere, and you can then be learning at any time in any place.
Thanks to Penny Root for that. Now let's go to Terry Lone for a final contribution with his thoughts on the use of audio recordings within his online courses.
As well as the weekly sound files or podcasts, we also try to include other audio material in our courses. For example, we record short interviews with experienced practitioners, and we make these available to our students via Moodle. It's really important, I believe, to include audio and video material whenever possible, rather than relying just on text. Not all learners find that reading is the easiest way to absorb information, and one of the great advantages of using an online learning platform is the ease with which you can incorporate a variety of media. So if you go to the trouble of setting up a learning platform and then just use it for text-based resources, I think you are really missing an opportunity.